So I'm working, and also I've worked in support project as well. So have little bit background Java as well as Core Java and PLSQL and SQL. So actually, I've worked in City for IFW tool, so I have reporting knowledge and I've heard about Anaplan. It's also analysis and planning, like we have to transform the data. So that's why a little bit curious to learn this tool and to upscale my profile. That's why I'm looking for this course to look the opportunity outside and to gain the knowledge more about reporting, which is popular in outside as well. Because I have worked in a tool that is, I mean, internal only. This is Wipro internal tool. Yeah, it's have two, three companies outside also, L&T and all, but still having not that much scope. So that's why I'm looking forward this global tool. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a
Yes.
lot, Rupali, for a quick intro. So we have Harinath with us as well. Hari, would you like to just introduce quickly a little about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, myself Harinath, and I'm close to having 7 years of experience on different domains. So not into this Anaplan, either ETL and data science or something. But this is the first time I'm trying to learn on a FA solution.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's all about I can say.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. So probably we would be sharing the videos with you for the past 3 to 4 sessions and whatever has been conducted. And probably what we will do is like accordingly, we will be covering this session and we'll try to sum up the entire stories what we have covered till today. And meanwhile, the recordings would be shared as well, and what I'd be requesting from you guys is like when we meet next, okay, so please spend some time, go through those videos as well, though you may find that's a little repetitive because anyways those videos would be nothing but what we are going to be covering today. Maybe it's in much little elaborated fashion, and if you find any issues or as such, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. So that is one thing. And meanwhile, yeah, I just forget to introduce myself. So okay, so myself Abhishek. So currently I'm working as an Anaplan product trainer in different institutions throughout the globe. So in past, I have worked with different product based and consulting organizations, and technically I'm like Anaplan the solution architect, where I'm working. And apart from these one-on-one trainings, mostly I've been involved in giving corporate trainings, and I have given these corporate trainings in leading insurance firms like AXA, Goldman, and another service-based organizations like Cognizant and all that. I mean, the list is long, but just a brief introduction on those aspects. And probably, apart from Anaplan, I do have an experience in few other integrations and analytical tools as well. So that's a little about me, and gradually I'm pretty sure like we'll come to know each other more and more with these upcoming sessions. So before I move into the topics, I believe team would have already shared what are the topics which we are going to be covering. Okay, so just go through that introduction video, what the topics and how things are going to be covered. If I just tell you like how a regular day in our session is going to be looking like, every day we are going to be covering few topics. Okay, then we'll have a discussion around those topics. Then probably you will have few exercises to complete, okay, which you need to do together. And once you do that, again, if you will find any issues, you can let me know. We are going to be discussing those in our session. So suppose we discuss a topic like X topic. So X topic discussion will happen here in the session. You will have some, theoretical theories there. Then we'll move around, the practical side of that. And then post that, again, we are going to be, assigning you a few exercises. Complete that. Apart from that, during these exercises there will be another set of model which you're going to be building from the scratch. Okay, for the level 1 it's going to be the financial plannings which will be there in your learning.anaplan.com. So your responsibility would be you go through the exercise of that topic, and apart from that I'll be telling you what chapters or what sessions you can complete from that learning.anaplan.com. So there, since the model is going to be built from scratch, so I'll just tell you which component you built today, and those components would be aligned with the topic what I discuss into these sessions. So there's going to be twofold learning. First of all, you're going to be learning the topics one by one. Second, you are going to be just building the model from the scratch as well. So both these two exercises needs to be performed by you in your free time, maybe post the sessions. And in our sessions, it's going to be the discussion around the topics. It's going to be discussion around the certain points. It's going to be discussion around the doubts which you have, and there's going to be a discussion around day-to-day practical issues which I would have seen, or you may feel could possibly arise. That's what the discussion is going to be mostly revolving around. Just a suggestion, and what I would request both of you guys is like, feel free, okay, I mean, to say like wherever you feel like you don't understand anything, or you feel like I am going little fast or I am going little slow, just feel free, okay. I mean, it's just like I possess some knowledge before what you have now. It's just only that difference, so don't get restricted on what to ask, what not to ask. And another request, like whatever you are doing on the tool, okay, and it's very very required and mandatory. Whatever you are doing in the tool, in the terms of your exercises, or maybe in the terms of some videos which you watch maybe during this entire course, please go and have an approach of how and why. Just don't do that for the sake of doing. Just think like why you are doing. If you don't get an answer why you are doing, probably there's something which I need to do on that. So just let me know that you don't understand why and how of that particular X topic. Okay, we are going to be trying to understand, because until and unless we understand why and how of that particular topic or particular stuff, it's not going to be helpful at all. So let's build that approach throughout the sessions, and feel free. I mean, if you don't understand anything, just let me know, pause me there. I mean, there should be a twofold conversation throughout these sessions. That's what the whole point is. All right, so I'll just get started. Okay, and probably the session could be maybe extended to another 1 hour. So I hope you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, Hari, for you?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And let me know, Abhishek. Functionally, are you going to cover only financial planning or any other supply chain, or in even in FP&A solutions? What other planning areas are going to touch during our sessions?
Okay. So Hari, just one question. Like, I mean, are you from Shrini's side?
Sorry,
I mean, are you from Shrini's side, or are you joined from Mind Magics?
I don't know. So yeah, Srinivas. Yeah, correct.
Okay, okay. I'll speak to you separately, Shrini. Sorry, Hari, on this. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. But for the idea would be more like, for our level 1, we are going to be covering functionally financial planning, and along with that there will be lots and lots of topics. So here it's going to be more technical related stuffs, okay. And the idea would be to cover the technical topics. Yeah, functionally the things are going to be on that learning.anaplan.com, which you're going to be going through on your own. But again, like I mentioned, for you to complete that certification and those exercises, it's my responsibility. So if you don't understand anything over there, maybe functionally, but I'm pretty sure you guys would understand when you will read it. But still, if there's a doubt, if there's any questions, obviously I'll be there to answer them, either the technical doubts, either the functional doubt, whatsoever doubts which you encounter, I'll be helping you throughout on that. And other things, Hari, I'll speak to you on those trends, okay? Maybe separately. All right. So without wasting much time, it's gonna be a quick session where we'll be covering lots of topics today. Just let me share my screen and we'll get started. At any point of time, guys, if you feel like it's going a little fast, or if you don't understand anything, please, please, please pause me there itself. Okay? Feel free on that. All right, so forget about the agendas. This ideally, we have the discussions around 75 minutes, then Q&A and some miscellaneous topics as such. And yeah, talking about the course objective, what are the topics which we are going to be covering in this module? And by the end of this course, what you would be able to know is like what Anaplan is, the real-time use case for Anaplan. Then we are going to be discussing Anaplan versus Excel and connected planning. Now, pretty much if I just cover these topics in a very, very high level, obviously we will be understanding an initial about what Anaplan as a tool is. That's fine. A real-time use case, which will help you to understand, how Anaplan was implemented in one of the leading FMCG organization. And this project is around, 2017. Then we are going to be comparing Anaplan with Excel. Now, why we are comparing Anaplan with Excel and not with any other technology at this point? Because of the fact that your Anaplan, is for modeling and planning, and your Excel was one of the oldest, planning and modeling tool. Rather, at point, planning modeling is not a like something which is started today or maybe yesterday. It's a very old concept, to be honest. And earlier, since there was very less tools and these things into the market, most of the organizations were doing their entire modeling and planning on an Excel. And even today we have lots of organization enterprise who are doing their planning on an Excel, and gradually they are trying to shift to these planning tools like Anaplan. So we are just comparing the conventional and the most common modeling and planning tool Excel with Anaplan, the current one which we are going to be learning. And then there's something like an advantage of Anaplan, and that is called a connected planning. So that's what the idea is. And if I just come quickly on what is Anaplan. Now, like even if you would have done a little, background research from your end, you would have for sure got to know, like, Anaplan is a cloud-based platform used at an enterprise level for data modeling and planning. These terms, data modeling and planning, whenever you will go through these Anaplan, what Anaplan is all about, these terms you will hear a lot of time. Okay. Now, the matter of fact is, the point is, in this definition, there are like three main terminologies. The ones which I have highlighted is a cloud-based platform. Now, if I say like Anaplan is a cloud-based platform, what does that mean? Any of the whatever cloud-based platform advantage possess, any of the advantages which any of the cloud-based platform possess. Maybe it could be lightweight, maybe you don't need to require the administrative stuff, handle the administrative stuffs. It's not going to be on premise. Multiple users can work collaboratively, multiple users have an access to that model throughout the globe. It's much fast, it's doesn't require any runtime issues, the maintenance is not on our end. So whatever advantage which any of the cloud-based technology which you can think of which will have, in general Anaplan also poses all of those advantages. The major advantage and the best part about being Anaplan as a cloud-based platform is it provides the feature of multiple users collaboration. So for me, this collaboration is the main factor, what I feel, and what in general the folks would feel like this is one of the major advantage of Anaplan being a cloud-based platform is in comparison to your any other planning and modeling tool. So you can work much more collaboratively, and lots of other features or advantages of any cloud-based platform. Then you say it's used for data modeling and planning. Now, see, data modeling and planning is going to be, some point, or it's going to be a topic which you are going to be discussing throughout, your entire Anaplan journey. You'll be hearing this. You have to do data modeling. You have to do data planning. Now, this term in itself is a little confusing, to be honest, initially. Okay, let's try to understand and break this modeling and planning, what it means in general. So for the time being, I'm gonna be keeping it very, very simple. Okay, I'm not gonna be using any technical fancy terms. Rather, I'll just break it very simple and just for the sake of understanding. So if I tell you what modeling and planning is all about, it's more you take some raw data, okay? You have some available raw data, you do transformation on that data, and post doing the transformation, ultimately you are solving a business process, and any of the business process which you solve helps in increasing the revenue of that organization. Just reiterating my statement once again, modeling and planning is all about you take some data, take some available raw data. It could be anything. I mean, list of your sales history data, opening inventories data, your product data, your geography data, whatever data which you can think of which exist. You take them, do a transformation. When I say transformation, on that available data, you perform some sort of calculations. And why you're going to be performing those calculations on those available data? Because you want to solve a business process, a business use case, a business difficulty. Okay. And ultimately, as soon as you solve any business case, what happens? You are ultimately increasing the revenue, or maybe you are helping to ease out a certain process. But again, that will be directly proportional to revenue in some case, some way or other. Either you ease out a business process, either you make life easy for the employers to take certain decisions, or either you predict or forecast anything. Ultimately, down the line, it's related with dollars. It's related with you are saving some sort of revenue. So if I just reiterate the statement once again, you take some data, perform transformation on that data, solving a business process, and in turn, you save some revenue. For an example, let's take one statement. Okay, let me just open my notepad quickly. And if I just tell you one small statement, I hope guys can see my notepad, right?
Yeah, Abhishek.
Okay, so I'm just telling you one statement for planning and modeling where it could possibly be used. Okay, so for the time being, guys, let's imagine, we are in 21, December 21. Okay, just for the sake of simplicity. And what my problem statement says, I just try to understand this statement. As a product manager, I want to know the forecasted sales on the basis of product by geography. This forecasting needs to be done taking into account past 3 years data. All right. So what does that mean is there is an end user, that is a product manager for our case. He wants to see the forecasted sales for the next year. So suppose this is December 21 currently. We are in 21 year. So he want to see the forecasted sales for next year. Now forecasted sales is what? You want to predict that. You don't have that in your actuals. Maybe depending upon some past records or past available sales, you're going to be predicting what's going to be sales in the next year. All right. On the basis of product by geography. And this forecasting needs to be done into count taking past years data. So now when I was telling, like, you have to observe or analyze some past data, those past 3 years data you have to keep into the mind. Now if I just tell you further and level of granularity, if I go and tell you with a small example, maybe I want to know the sales of chocolates in Miami region, that is product, that is chocolate, geography, that is Miami. Okay, I want to know the forecasted sales. Let's take an example from March 2022. I want to know the forecasted sales of chocolates in March 2022 in Miami region. Fine. I want to know the forecasted sales, that is March 2022 sales, maybe of chocolates in Miami region. This forecasting needs to be done taking into account the data of 20, 19, and 18. So what data you will take? You will take the data how much sales was of chocolates in Miami in 18, Miami in chocolates in Miami in 19, chocolates in Miami in 20. So far so good. Any confusion, guys? Or are we good? Confused?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, got it.
We are
Yeah,
aligned.
go ahead, sir.
Okay. So that's what you are willing at this point of time. So you ultimately, if you want to know this, three things we need to have. We need to have this product data, we need to have this geography data, and past 3 years data. So that's going to be my sales, actual sales. What you want as an end result, you want to know this forecasted sales. Okay. Who want to know this? The product manager. Okay. Now, if I just try to understand a little more here, you have this raw data with you. You want to calculate this forecasted sales. So these are my raw data. So I want to calculate this forecasted sales here. So to perform this forecasted sales, if there may be some sort of calculation which I need to do in a rough, if I say in a very layman terms, you could very well average out like past 3 years data sales. So maybe chocolates in Miami in 18, chocolates in Miami in 19, chocolates in Miami in 20. I'll just take that, I'll average it out, and then I may say like the sales in 2022 is going to be somewhere around that figure. Obviously the forecasting is not that easy. I mean, there are a lot of variables and components which will come in this calculations, but roughly we can say like that we can just average, and we can imagine that the sales is going to be somewhere around that figure. So if you just think of the entire scenario what we did right now, you took some data, right? That is your product data, geography data, sales history data. You are performing some sort of calculations or transformation on that data. What are you doing? So on the forecasted sales, you are performing this averaging out on this available data. Sorry, not forecasted. On the available data, you are performing some averaging out to calculate the forecasted sales. And then for whom you are doing it, for what purpose you are doing it. So for a product manager, you are doing it. Maybe that's the business case for us. And why you are doing it. Because, and how it helps, if you know the forecasted sales of March 2022, accordingly I'll be managing my manufacturing and inventories in maybe sitting in December 21, right? So if I can manage my inventories accordingly, it will help me in two ways. First of all, stock out option will get ruled out, and that is I'll have proper stocks, proper inventories for this chocolate products. Accordingly, I can ship these products at time, and I'll also make sure that I don't have an overproduction of that product, because if sales is only going to be 100, there's no point I produce 200, so that 100 extra which I have produced will be an utter loss for me, right? So if I know the forecasted sales, accordingly I can manage my revenues, so in manage my stocks, and in turn it's going to be helping me to increase or enhance the revenue. Now again, just colliding and combining everything. What was modeling and planning? Take some data, perform transformation, solve a business process, generate revenue. What's in our example? We took product data, geography data, past 3 years data. We performed some sort of calculation on that. That is averaging it out. Solved a business process. Solved a business process of what? Calculating a forecasting for the product manager. And if a product manager is able to see those forecasted values, what he will do? He will manage or take the decisions accordingly. And in turn, what happens? He is able to save some sort of revenue for the organization at a very high level, because he nullifies the condition of maybe stocks getting stock out or surplus production. So that's what your modeling and planning in general is all about. Okay, so if I just come back here to my slides again. So what I say, Anaplan is a cloud-based platform used at an enterprise level for data modeling and planning. So I know, okay, all the advantages of cloud-based platform Anaplan poses as well. It's going to be used for modeling and planning. We already know what data modeling and planning is all about now. So, you know, this modeling and planning example which we are discussing, this averaging out and whatsoever, could have been performed on some other tool as well. I mean, it's not only restricted to Anaplan, to be honest. You can do this on Excel as well. But again, since Anaplan will process, lots and lots of, different, advantages, obviously you need to have Anaplan as a tool in the enterprise, maybe where you are doing connected planning or entire enterprise planning, and you want to leverage the advantages or the power of Anaplan. So that's what the story is, and I believe we are good with this sentence at this point of time. I mean, can we explain each and everything out here? Can we tell anyone what Anaplan is? Can we explain in the small use case for what I mean by modeling and planning? We can do that, right? Or any other questions at this point of time you have?
No, Abhishek, got it.
Hurry, same for you? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Abhishek. Yeah.
We are good, Hari? Any
Yeah, yeah,
questions?
I'm good. No. I said no good. Go ahead.
All right. Awesome. All right. So moving on with the next topic, what data modeling is. If it's just nothing but what we discussed the other day, like this point itself, like data modeling is a process used to define and analyze. It's nothing but whatever we discussed it in much more fancy terms, used to define and analyze data requirements needed to support the business process. Okay, so we just know that we had some data, we defined, we analyzed, and we supported the business process. That is maybe the forecasting values which we were calculating within the scope of corresponding information system in the organization. So this is what your data modeling is all about, right? We know this statement, we know this, we understand everything here. Let's ignore this statement at this point of time. Maybe it's going to be a little confusing if you read through. Maybe you guys can give a shot here. Anaplan connected planning platforms. Okay, a mystery. Connected planning black box for us. We'll discuss that later. Empowers cross-functional users throughout the enterprise to holistically plan, budget, and seamlessly interact with the cloud-based enterprise reporting platform to realize new values. Makes sense to some extent, but still it sounds a little confusing. We will come back to this statement a little later when we are equipped with the understanding of what connected planning is. That probably we are going to be deriving at end of this module. Okay. All right. So moving on with the next topics aligned, and that is we are going to be discussing about a real-time use case of Anaplan. And probably this is going to be helping us to understand what is the use, what is the need, or what type of cases we solve in this tool. Instead, just maybe virtually imagining the power of this tool, or what do we have to do. So if I give you a brief introduction about this use case or entire project, this is not only a use case, but rather this is an entire project that was built in 2017 by leading FMCG organization. I will not just tell out the names, but I can very well tell you, at least Indian households have 50 to 60% products of this particular organization or this particular industry or company rather. So they implemented their use case, or they implemented this project in North America region in beginning, and later on seeing the power and the advantages whatever they were able to capture, they implemented it in different regions throughout the globe. Okay, now to understand this, what we will do is we'll just again think of a scenario. First, we will be understanding why this use case was implemented. Okay, why? What was the question mark around it? And then we'll understand how this can fit in a real-time scenario and how it would have solved a problem. Okay. Let's, for an instance, let's not focus on the deck at this point of time. Let's hear me out entirely for a few minutes. So, for an instance, let's maybe, we have planned to do some sort of, shopping tomorrow. Maybe we have to, purchase some groceries tomorrow. Okay. So what we do, we make list of 10 products or maybe 20 products what we need to purchase. For the sake of simplicity, we'll stick with 10 products. So we have to purchase 10 products tomorrow. Those are maybe some grocery or some other types of products. Where from where I'm going to be purchasing, I have taken a decision that I'm going to be purchasing from a shopping complex. Okay, maybe it's a Walmart. I'll go there and I'll purchase, or maybe it's a Unilever outlet. So let's think and stick with Unilever outlet instead. So we decided that the 10 groceries which I have, I'm going to be purchasing from the Unilever outlet tomorrow. Okay. So what happens? Morning comes, you know, it's early morning. We decided to go to that complex. We went there. We parked the car. We took the trolley. We went inside. Okay. As soon as we go inside, I see a flashy picture that is 80% discounted products. I see a flashy picture, 80% discounted products. Now, when I see that 80% discounted product, as soon as I see that, I get an euphoria and I feel very happy to, see those products at such a discounted rate. Because I feel, I crack a deal, I can, purchase something at a very, very small price. But unfortunately, when I opened the list of products which I have to purchase today, those 10 products, neither of the products were matching in that 80% discounted channels product. So, maybe that 80% products, channels product, whatever the products which were there, I didn't need it for my day to day, activities or maybe day to day consumption. But what I believe, like, since the product was at a very heavy discounted rate, I got lured and I purchased 4 products additionally because I felt like, was a very good deal. And though it wasn't into my list, which I had to, initially, which I had planned to purchase, but still, I'm going to be purchasing that product. I kept those 4 products under my trolley because I was getting it at a very small price. I walked further 200 meters into that complex. I see another discounted channel that is 50% discount. Again, very, with a lot of expectations, I opened my list of products which I have to purchase. And unfortunately, again, it doesn't matches. The list of the products which are there in that 50% discounted channel doesn't matches with the products which I have to purchase or which I have planned to purchase now. So what I have to do? I think for a minute, maybe. I see 2 or 3, products which I feel are worth at this discount, and I again tend to purchase that product. So till now, I have purchased 4 products from 80% discounted channel and 2 products from 50% discounted channel, maybe. All right, so I purchased 6 products. I walked in further, 200 meters, and then I see there are products which are at no discount rates, no discount offer. And when the products are at no discount offers, what I will do, I'll just go to that sections and whatever the 10 products I'm supposed to purchase, I'll just purchase that and I'll go for billing. Okay. So in turn, total product purchased 16. How much I was supposed to purchase? 10. Why did I purchase those extra 6 products? Because of the discount being offered, right? So ultimately, if you think of one statement we can, derive by this, action, whatever I did, or whatever the consumer thought is, and it's like, again, sorry for that, it's just again a basic thumb rule, and that is your consumption is always going to be directly proportional to the discount being offered. That's how the Indian consumers and most of the consumers throughout the globe operates, or rather their thought process works. Your consumption is directly proportional to discount being offered. Let's take an example, like your Amazon sales, Flipkart sales, or Big Billion Day sales, or Christmas sales, whatever you see. What happens? You purchase a lot of products which even you don't tend to purchase. Maybe that's not required for you, but why you purchase that? Because you think maybe you are getting those products at a discounted rate, and that's a good deal for you, right? So what this FMCG organization did, they captured this essence, that is, discount offered directly proportional to the consumption, and they used this rule in a very specific fashion. How did they use? Let me tell you. So, usually, let's come back to our scenario where we started to purchase the products. So, I took the trolley, I took the billing of those 16 products, and I came back home. When I came back home, what I observed that the products whose discount was around 80%, their expiration date, their shelf life, or they would have got expired in next 20 days. The product which were having 80% discount channel would get expired in next 20 days. So in these 20 days only I have to consume that product. Though the total shelf life of that product was 9 months, but it seems like the product wasn't sold, and they just gave the heavy discount. I purchased them, and I have to consume them in next 20 days. Sounds okay, that's fine, I can do that. Again, for a 50% discounted channel, the products which I saw, their expiration date was somewhere around 45 to 50 days on an average. And the products which are not having any discount, their expiration date was more than 60 days. Okay, so they had long shelf life, and there was very less probability of them getting expired anytime soon. Okay, now I as a customer think, or I as a customer thought, like I'm just taking a product at a very heavy discount rate, and I'm maybe a winner at this point of time. But if you think from the perspective of the organization just minimized the loss. How did they minimize? By giving the discount on the products heavily. Because if the product wasn't consumed in the next 20 days, it would have been an entire loss. And forget about making profit, they would have not able to even justify the cost price of those products, right? So what the organization did was, what the organization planned, they observed this behavior, and based upon the expiration date, the organization planned to shift the products in different channels. So maybe if the product date was less than 25 days, they were shifting to 80% channel. If it was between 25 to 60 days, they were shifting into 45% channel. If it was greater than 60 days, they were shifting into no discount channels. Okay. So accordingly, they used to shift certain products under the different channels, and they made sure that our product is getting sold fast, and they are minimizing the loss. Now, how this was helping, let's again try to understand within a small, maybe example. So let's take a X product. Okay, for the sake of simplicity, let's name this product noodles. Okay, and on noodles, the shelf life, suppose the cost price of the product. Okay, I believe we understand what cost price is. Like the price which is spent to manufacture that product is 50. The selling price of this noodle is, let's take an example, 100, and profit which on noodle it comes is 50. Correct? Cost price minus selling price. Sorry, selling price minus cost price. Right? We are good here. Now, you know, just imagine a scenario where this noodles is expired and not sold. What happens? Cost price still remains 50. Selling price still is 100. And if I tell you profit Forget about profit, but it's entire loss of minus 50 because you're not able to even get the cost price. Correct. Right? So in this case, when the product is getting expired and not getting sold, this is the effect. This is the loss for the organization. That is minus 50. Right? Let's imagine a scenario. To avoid this, what I do, I give a 80% discount maybe because the product came in a situation where the product would have got expired in next 20 days. So I give a discount of maybe 80%. So what happens? Selling price becomes 20. Profit? No profit, but still it's loss, and that is minus 30. That is selling price minus cost price. So 30. Let's imagine another scenario. Cost price 50. Now we are going to be giving a discount of maybe 50 percentage or maybe 40 percentage for an example. So the selling price becomes how much if we give a discount of maybe 40? So selling price becomes 60. Profit 10. When I give no discount, this is the profit, that is 50. But just think of a scenario, which one is best one? Obviously this is the best one. When you give no discount, you incur most profit. But there's no point being in this situation where you are making the loss of minus 50. Correct. But unfortunately, due to some reason, maybe the product didn't got sold. Even if you just shift it to these discounted channels, okay, which are here, so you are able to generate or minimize the loss. Maybe if you're not able to generate the profit, but you are minimizing the loss somehow. Correct? Yes? No?
Yeah.
So what the organization planned, they planned just to use this entire thought process, and they shifted their products into the different discounted channel based upon the expiration date or the shelf life of these products. And once they did that, they further thought of putting in another inputs, like maybe seasonality could be a factor. Now what the seasonality is, suppose you know it's and product is ice cream and it's hot summer in India. So you can feel like the product, even if it has reached the expiration date is less than 20 days, the product still has a probability of getting sold. So maybe I'll not give an 80% discount, rather I'll give only a 50% discount on that product, and I observe the product still gets sold. Another scenario could be the same ice cream, if it's in a winter season, the shelf life is between 45 days, still the probability of that product is getting sold is less, because in winter no one will eat ice cream, even very few will eat. So I believe, like even the product ideally should not be given any discount, but still I'll give 50% discount because of the seasons around, right? Because of the trend of customer, what the customer behavior is, accordingly I'll decide which product needs to be moved under different channel. So I'm taking a decision based upon general approach. I'm also giving the power to the business users to accordingly categorize or override my calculations or override my results. And why they're going to be overriding that? Based upon their experience or based upon the trends which they have observed into the past, right? So this entire setup, the organization thought of putting it under the tool. Now, if this was a very small setup, okay, if this was maybe a small shopping complex in my nearby home, so the people can do this small exercise, maybe early morning, whenever the shop opens. Before that, they 5-10 people can sit around accordingly, just see the expiration date, shift into different channels and job done. That's fine, no worries. But if the organization is huge, okay, if the organization is huge, maybe vastly located throughout the different regions of world, let's take an example of Unilever itself, like headquartered in London, and its products. I mean, I don't know how many products they manufacture, but that's huge in number, right? You have like thousands of products that when Unilever manufactures, vastly distributed from maybe headquartered in London to smallest city of Africa to rural regions of India. The products are vastly distributed through different locations. So if the organization is that huge and there are so many products, obviously you can't do this manually. And there the needs of IT comes in, and there where any modeling and planning tool comes in. And to solve the question of any, they decided to come up with Anaplan. Okay, so they implemented this entirely use cases on Anaplan, and that was a heavy success for them, and they were able to generate significant amount and optimize the revenue. So ultimately, in a nutshell, this use case was more revolving around the fact, like you were able to optimize the revenue and minimize the loss, and you were focusing on slow and moving obsolete goods. So the idea was to minimize the loss and optimize the revenue for slow and moving obsolete goods out here. All right. So this is what the use case was. And if I just try to sit and think about how Anaplan could fit in, or how Anaplan come in here in this case is, so you had, let's focus. I mean, this diagram could be a little daunting at this point of time. So let's focus on this area only. Okay. Please ignore this all areas here. Okay. Just don't pay attention to here. Okay. Let's be focused on this area. Now, what happens in Anaplan? Anaplan will have its inbuilt database. Okay. Anaplan has a database in itself. And over there, they are going to be, storing huge amount of data. So they are going to be storing some data into their database. So what are the data which you can possibly store at this point of time from that FMCG example, XYZ organization? So you're going to be storing the product data, you're going to be storing the geographies data, you're going to be storing the past sales history data, maybe some channels, there could be some external factors and all that stuff you need to store into Anaplan, and we're going to be storing that into the database of Anaplan. Right? So you store that into database. And what you have to do from the modeling and planning perspective, you take some data, perform transformation on that data, do some sort of calculation on that data. So we're going to be doing that into the calculation engine. So Anaplan has a calculation engine where you're going to be using these available data and you're going to be performing the calculations. And where the product manager is going to be observing that data. So he's going to be observing that onto the UX and dashboard. So what UX and dashboard is? So whatever, calculation, or here in our case, we got some forecasted values. You have to portray that forecasted values to an end user, to the business user. And we're going to be doing that is on the UX and the dashboard, which you specifically designed for that user. All right. So the UX and dashboard is something which you create for end user to come and visualize the trend or visualize the data. All right, so you took some data, performed the calculation, and portrayed that data onto the UX and the dashboard for the end user. All right, maybe the forecasted sales here at this point of time. And then, if you can think of, like every time this product data and geography data, which you are, bringing into here in Anaplan, obviously you're not going to be doing this manually, right? Maybe at some point of time you do manually, but at major you need to integrate, or maybe you need to make sure that the data is getting refreshed daily from any other system. So what do you need to do? Let's imagine, for this XYZ FMCG organization, they have a SAP system in place where, they are updating the entire data, the product data, geography data, the sales history data, whatever is there, it's getting refreshed daily over here. What we want, this data has to come up into Anaplan, right? So the product data, geography data, sales history data that is there into the SAP, that has to come and sit into our Anaplan. Now, Can the SAP and Anaplan directly interact with each other? The answer is no. Why no? Let's try to understand. There's a basic rule in any of the IT tool, any of the applications, and that is two systems developed on different languages can't communicate with each other. For an instance, we have an application that is developed on Java. We have an application that is developed on .NET. Now, these two applications can't interact with each other. These two applications can't interact with each other. If they have to send some information from this application to that application, it can't be done directly. Using the term, it can't be done directly. But if you're talking from an enterprise perspective, all the application needs to be connected. They need to communicate with each other. Now, the question is how they will communicate. So the answer for this question is you would have heard something like middleware integrations. Okay, integration tools, technologies, whatever you think of, the likes of MuleSoft, the likes of connectors, the like of JDBC connections, the like of REST APIs, the like of Oracle service-oriented architecture, the likes of Oracle Service Bus, whatever these products which you hear of. Okay, that's where the utility comes in. So what these tools technology helps in? So they will take the data from Java, okay, whatever information you are sending, they will do the transformation here itself. The transformation will be done in a fashion that .NET can understand this language, this information. Again, whatever they have to do the processing, they will do, and they will send it back to here. So what happens here? Again, transformation will happen, and this will be converted in a form that Java will understand. Okay, so you take the data from Java, you perform the transformation in the integration layer, send out to your dotted application, again bring the information back, and the transformation happens into that integration layer. So integration layers in general helps you to convert data from one application to an format which another application understands, and vice versa. Okay, so since our SAPs and Anaplan are two different applications, we need to have in a middleware integration layer, or it's called an integration layer in between. Okay, so Anaplan does provides us certain ways of integration. And for instance, we are going to be understanding, and we are using some ETL, or we are using some REST APIs. So what does this do? It takes that product data, geography data from SAP, it converts into Anaplan form, and it sends it over here. So the data from the SAPs are coming regularly at a scheduled interval into our Anaplan database. And that's how the things looks at a very, very high level from an architectural point of view. So you have a database, you have performing calculations, you are displaying it onto the dashboard of the UX. The data is coming from an SAP. There's an ETL Informatica connector in between. And, that's how the processing happens. So this is how, the entire setup looks like. I'll just take a pause and I'll again open the floor for Q&A. If you have any question, any doubts with whatever we have discussed till now, please feel free to ask. Guys, you there?
Yeah, Abhishek.
Any question, Rubali or Hari?
No, as of now, I'm good.
Hari, how about you? Hari, you're on mute if you're saying something.
No, Abhishek. So as of now, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, but need to understand about the HANA plan, the functionality wise. I mean, so how we can get these requirement integration part. That's okay. I mean, so that is a one-time activity, right? So then, apart from that, what we can do, what we have to do on a daily basis activities in HANA plan, or so how we can build the reports and all. Yeah.
All right, that's
So
what.
the first part is modeling for any planning to implement either financial planning or sales planning or whatever. So either demand planning, it's supply chain or something. So build the model. Then once you build the model, then we have to make it right, the reporting part.
Mhm.
So that is the main right. So what are the challenges we are facing, and how, what kind of reports we are generating, if you are taking one example of financial planning or something. Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, since it's like a very, very, brief introduction at this point of time,
Yeah,
obviously
yeah, correct, correct.
we are going to be going to the granularities of that, and we'll cover these one by one as well. Okay. So I'm pretty
Sure.
sure, by the end of the course, you'll be in a position to understand these stories, whatever questions or doubts which you have in the mind. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You can understand, right? It's like initial hours, so it will be difficult to come up
Yeah,
with
yeah,
all
correct.
stuff which you're
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay, just give me a minute, guys. All right, guys. So let's get started with the another topics in line. And I know it feels like a lot of blah 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 going on at this point of time, but just bear with me on that, because since it's like a very very initial time, so we need to understand little things, theoretically, and probably we are going to be moving into the tool from our next session once we have a little understanding of the entire steps out here. All right, so let's activity inline for us. Let's create our account. What you guys need to do is like you need to create your account on these learning.anaplan.com. So please create it by today. You know, so this is going to be our learning site, and then you are going to be supposed to request the workspace access, and you can use this link. So this workspace access, you can just request it today itself. There is going to be a small document signing process which you need to do. It's going to be self-explanatory, pretty quick, not to worry. And make sure to create the account over here. If you feel any issues, difficulties while doing this, we can discuss them into our next session. I just posted the links into the chat as well for the either purpose. All right, so moving on ahead with the next topics aligned, and that is Anaplan versus Excel. Now, if I just tell you, I'll just go through very quickly these slides. I'll not go in a very very you know deep level of that. It's just for the sake of simplicity and understanding. If I just tell you, like the small differences between your Anaplan and an Excel, it could possibly be like in your Excel, the calculations which you perform takes long time. The calculation engine of Anaplan is very very fast. Let me tell you with an example. There could be few macros. I mean, if you guys would have worked, and I'm pretty sure at some point of time you would have felt this, like if there are like lakhs of data there, and you perform some sort of calculation, maybe run a macro, or maybe even apply some lookup function, or maybe just copy down 10 formulas of one row to like lakhs, or millions of different columns. Once you do this, you'll observe the entire CPU memory will get consumed, and the system will be hanged, and these activities takes around 5 hours, 4 hours at times to complete. So your one small formula, whatever you put in, takes around 3 4 hours at certain time when the data size is huge in Anaplan. But in contrary, in Anaplan, in Excel, sorry, in Excel. But in contrary, in Anaplan, what happens, like irrespective of how much data you have, you can do the stuff quite quickly. And even if you have to process all these on lakhs of data by a one button click, within 10 to 15 seconds, everything will get processed. So that's what the power of this calculation engine is. Like in your Excel, it could take around 4 hours, 5 hours. Entire CPU memory gets consumed. But in Anaplan, since it's in cloud, and as well as calculation engine is powerful. It doesn't affect your CPU memory, and at the same time, this calculation can be performed quite easily and fastly. Another, basic advantage, like, Anaplan is a cloud-based technology, so multiple user can collaborate at the same time. Whereas when you compare it with Excel, so Excel, when multiple people are working, you have to share the data one by one here and there. And even if you think about the online Excel, there are very few editing options out there. It's not much efficient. In Anaplan, the best feature, you have Anaplan Connect and the integration tools ways to do that. So these things comes handy. You can integrate Anaplan easily with entire any other third-party system in comparison to the Excel. Then you have something like surveillance. So surveillance is more like, you can maybe just think of hiding lots and lots of different type of data from the end user. So maybe, for instance, if I have an Excel with some file with you, and I maybe want to hide some data with Hari or Rupali, so I don't have a control on hiding the rows or column of that Excel. As soon as I share that entire file with you, you have an access and visibility on the entire set of data. Maybe you can protect some data, if you can protect the entire sheet, but still the option of providing the security on the data is very very restrictive. Whereas in Anaplan, you have so much of flexibility where you can restrict even one cell value what is there. Okay, so you have lots and lots of security mechanism, and the features by which you can restrict the data from any other user whom you don't want to see that. And obviously your Anaplan is like multi-dimensional in comparison to your Excel. So suppose you have a dimension like you want to see the maybe total sales by product in geography. So you need one sheet. Maybe if you want to see the another set of product on geography based upon time, then you may need another worksheet. So here it's very restricted. You can see the data is in only two dimensional, that is X and Y, whereas in Anaplan you have an option of multidimensionality, whereas in irrespective of the number of dimension, you can see the entire set of data. So that's what your Anaplan versus Excel is. And here comes another thing, and that is connected planning. So now what this connected planning is all about, it's like one of the feature and advantages of Anaplan. And if I just tell you the purpose, let's think of a scenario. Okay, so let's take an example like you have a maybe a supply chain planning project, okay, or supply chain planning implementation. There could be in an organization there could be a financial planning as well. There could be another XYZ planning as well which goes on. So ultimately there could be a condition where the revenues, the profits which you generate from a supply chain planning project. Okay, so suppose this is some sort of revenue which you created from a supply chain planning project, that has to reach under the financial planning. And when you that reaches under the financial planning, that revenue, suppose you made 100 profit, and that 100 profit which you have generated from a supply chain has to be distributed maybe as a variable of few employees. Okay, and what happened, as soon as you wanted to make a decision and wanted to distribute these $100 maybe as a variable of the employees, suddenly COVID came in and you want to stop this. You don't want this to happen because obviously the company will incur loss now, and you can't keep on giving bonuses to the employees in that case. So what you need to do, you need to make sure that you take a decision very quickly and stop this flow, right? So in your Anaplan, it's like you can do this very quickly within a fraction of seconds, and you can update loss over here. Okay, you can update the loss over here, and this loss will directly be fetched into the financial planning model, and the financial planners or whosoever the planner will be at that side, or the key stakeholders, can take the decision accordingly. Okay, so what ultimately I'm trying to say out by this example is like the models at an enterprise are connected with each other. Maybe the result of one model could affect the result of other. Maybe the input of one model could act as an output of other, and vice versa. So in a equi-space, in an enterprise equi-space, everything needs to be connected with each other, or even if it's not connected, at least you wish it could be connected. And to cover all that, Anaplan comes up with an approach of connected planning. When you are creating models, different models on Anaplan, all that could be connected with each other, and the data can flow from one model to another quite easily. So if I just tell and just read out what's there on the deck, the purpose of Anaplan connected planning solution to have one reliable source of information, right? And I think that's one version of truth. So it's more like each role within an organization has the correct views of what's happening in their business unit and the impact of them on changes coming from other areas of the business. So that's what you have an idea of what's happening in your financial planning. At the same time, you also have an idea of what's happening into a supply chain planning, because your models are connected with each other. Maybe certain data are coming from a supply chain getting into a financial planning, and vice versa, and accordingly you can make the decisions. So in a nutshell, if I just tell you, the model needs to be connected at an enterprise. The result of one could be dependent upon the other. The input of one could be acting as an output to other, and vice versa. Okay, so in Anaplan space, this can be very fast, this can be very dynamic, and this can be implemented very easily. So this is one of the features of connected planning, and how this works. Obviously, we are going to be understanding once we start our model build journey together. If I just tell you the few advantages, use data to make informed decision, modify plans easier, make necessary changes at a rapid rate, it handles the complexities. And it's just a small, diagram, a small picture, which is helping us to understand, in how different modeling and models are connected. So sales forecasting, compensation modeling, quota modeling, demand planning, and all are connected with Anaplan. And Anaplan sitting is in between. It's looking like a hive, where it's maybe trying to depict any organization, and different models are connected with each other in this hybrid approach. How we connect, obviously, that's a question mark that we will cover in our upcoming few sessions. So that's all what I had for today for you guys. I know the session was quite lengthy, a lot of information to grasp at this point of time, and a lot of blah 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 came from my end as well. So before we wrap up, just a small round of Q&A. If you guys have any, just let me know. Else we'll catch tomorrow at 8 AM IST. Any questions?
Yeah, from my end, there's no questions, Abhishek. Yeah, so far good. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Hari. Rupali, from your end?
Yeah, Abhishek. No question as of now. I'm good.
Okay. So Rupali, team would have already shared the sessions recordings with you. There would be, I
Yeah.
think, 4 sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So initial 2 recordings would be revolving around the topics which we had discussed right now.
Yeah.
Go through that. Okay. If you have time,
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, even if you go through those initial, don't go through that. That's also fine. Watch the third video and the fourth video which you have. Okay.
Yeah.
Those videos we are going to be covering in our tomorrow session. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, you can just watch it. If you don't want as well, today's session and tomorrow's session would be fine for you to get aligned with those 4 sessions which we had. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we'll go through that.
Yep. And same applies for Hari as well. So Hari, like once you, I'm not sure whether you have enrolled or not. Once you enrolled with the team, probably, the recording would be shared with you. Please watch through
Sure.
those recordings. At least watch
Okay.
through the first 2 recordings, and tomorrow we are going to be discussing on the third and fourth recording, which will be discussed with you soon. Mhm.
Sure. No problem. Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. Okay, guys. Then make sure that you create your account and request the workspace. And let's meet tomorrow. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Abhishek.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.